Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I am Dr. Ali from Department of Entrepreneurship and Marketing Studies, Faculty of Business and Management UITM. I will be sharing a topic on how you can apply design thinking in new product development. Before we proceed further, let's look at the topics that will be covered in the presentation. We will start with the introduction to new product development, then followed by the importance of NPD or new product development. Then I will introduce you to design thinking, and finally, how can we use or apply design thinking in new product development? Sounds interesting, right? Good. So let's begin. We start with new product development or NPD. I think you are all very familiar with this topic, right? You guys have learned it in your ENT 600 or Technology Entrepreneurship. So I will not repeat it again here, just to recap and refresh some of the things that you have learned in ENT 600. NPD is where you design and create product and later sell it to your customers. It involves the whole process that you can see in this slide, starting from R&D until test marketing. But in this session, we will focus more on one process of NPD, which is concept testing, specifically on getting the initial notion, because in that process, we will see the integration of one of the elements in design thinking. So let's start with NPD. I will share with you some of the classic example of new product development. First, you see here in this slide the evolution of a product which is very familiar to you, right? iPhone. It started in 2007 and now it has evolved to I don't know how many models of iPhone. The most recent is iPhone 12, right? You see, almost every product in this world went through the process of new product development, from non-existence to the latest model. So, if you are planning for a new business or starting your own product, you should also think of this NPD. It is a serious matter and very important for any businesses in this world. Okay, here's another classic example of a well-known company which at one time was the market leader in cell phones. But what happened to this company now? Was it because of new product development? They have NPD, right? They develop new product as well, right? So if you would like to know more about what happened to Nokia, I think you can read a lot of articles on the internet. But my point here is you need to have NPD for both market growth, market share, as well as for your business survival. You need NPD and you need to do it fast before your competitors took advantage of the technology and the market. So now, looking at this product, okay, at this slide, and assuming that you are the owner of this product, the mob, and you are contemplating about NPD, what would be your reasons for NPD? Is it to enter new market, or to gain bigger market share, or to survive in the market, which now is very competitive with so many online platforms and products from China? Or you just plain tired of producing your same old products, which now is slowly losing its customers due to advancement in technology. So whatever your reasons for NPD, you should ask yourselves these three important questions. Question 1. How do you know that your new idea or concept or product is needed by your potential customers? Question number 2. Will it be able to solve your customers' problems or issue at hand? Question number 3. Are there any other competing products in the market and how those products are doing in terms of demand? So these are the questions that you should ask yourselves before seriously embarking on NPD. So when you look at your competitors and evaluating their products, you need to look at the competitive gap. Okay, let's say you are very new in the market and you are not even sure if you can get 5% of the market share. So what you should do? Evaluate your competitor's product and try your best to differentiate yourself through new offerings, filling the gap or underserved needs left by your competitors. But you should bear in mind that to differentiate your product and at the same time meeting the customer's needs is not an easy thing to do. You need a good approach on how to develop a product that fulfill users' needs and at the same time having a competitive advantage. So, we are proposing a design thinking as an approach to help you in your new product development. But why design thinking? Because design thinking can help you to develop new product that will meet people's desires and needs. That is the keyword. So, design thinking as a process consists of 5 phases, or we can say elements. Phase 1, empathize. Phase 2, define. Phase 3, ideate. Phase 4, prototype. And phase 5, test. So our focus here in this session is on the first phase or element, which is empathize. We want to explore our audience or users or potential customers for whom we are designing our product through interview and observation. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are 5 phases of design thinking, and it starts with empathizing, where we explore our users or audience for whom we are designing our products, and the way we empathize is using 2 most common techniques, which is interview and observation. Then, once we have all the information gathered via those 2 techniques, we have to define those information, we have to put meanings to those information and making sense of it from the user's point of view so that we can use them to better understand users' needs and wants. Then, based on that important point of views gathered in phase 2, together with your team, you brainstorm to produce as many idea or solutions or products or proposal, whatever you want to call it, that you think can meet the customer's needs. After that, you pick the best one or the closest solution to users' needs and expectation and turn it into a prototype of which you can show it to your potential users or customers to get their comments and feedback in the final phase, which is testing. Again, those feedback that you get in the last phase or the last stage of design thinking will be used to further refine your prototype. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, our focus in this session is actually to look at how we can use one element of DT, which is empathize, to help develop our new product that meet users' needs. So in new product development, when you do concept testing, one of the things that you are looking at is to get the initial notion from users. So getting initial notion, or we can say preliminary acceptance of the concept of the product, can be done through empathizing. That's how we integrate empathize of design thinking into concept testing of new product development. So what is empathize and how do we empathize? When we bump into someone or perhaps our friend or relative, especially those who are in the middle of crisis, difficulties or problems, we try to comfort them by saying, I feel you bro, I feel you sister. That I feel you is indeed empathize. We try to fit into someone else's shoes, but how do we empathize with users or potential customer? We listen to their rich stories, observe their responses and gestures. We engage ourselves during interview and interaction with users. Try to immerse yourself or try to immerse ourselves in their experience. So we do all of this to discover or to uncover insights, thus fulfilling the gap left by the competitor. And when we empathize, we have to use all our senses given by the Creator, by the Almighty Allah, to feel, to experience, to understand and comprehend users' needs. But how can we empathize with the users? What will be the techniques? The most common techniques and the best techniques in doing or in empathizing with users are interview and observation. So during interview and observation sessions, you can ask as many relevant questions as you want because you need to dig deeper in order to know what your customers want, okay, in terms of products. Use why questions often so that you have answers that might help you to better understand your users. To better help you empathizing with users or potential customers, you can use one of the tools called Empathy Map or Empathy Canvas. So in this Empathy Map, what you do is to write users' responses during the interview session. What the user says out loud during an interview. What the user is thinking throughout the experience with the product. What does the user physically do? And the user's emotional state. What worries them the most when dealing with the product. So the Empathy Map can act as a guideline when conducting interview and observation session with the users. As I mentioned in the previous slide, during your empathizing phase through interview and observation, you are actually capturing findings. So to capture as many points as you can, it is best that you audio and video record, write down important points, and take photos. But of course, you must seek consent or permission prior to the session. So, back to our example, empathizing with potential customers for your newly developed mop. Let's say after interview and observations, these are some of the findings that you gathered from your Empathy Map. User says, I want something convenient, easy to use, lightweight, doesn't mess up. User thinks this is not practical, not much different. Really need lightweight mop with pail. User does, I still have to change the water once it gets dirty. It still requires lifting and they still have to press to spin dry the mop. User feels tired of changing dirty water, heavy lifting, better than the old mop, but pressing water manually. So with all these answers, what will be your next step? Okay, now you are at the second phase of design thinking, which is defining. Now you have all the findings from the Empathy Map. Those findings are actually users' point of views or the POVs. Your role now is to select the best POVs or the point of views so that you can address the underserved needs of your users. So as for our example, the mop, let's say the POVs that we really need to address are practical, easy to use, lightweight, and require less changing of dirty water. So based on the POVs that we have selected, practical, easy to use, lightweight, and require less changing of dirty water, you have to use these POVs to brainstorm the idea for new types of mop to fulfill the needs of the users. Now we are actually in the third phase of design thinking, which is ideation. So the tools that we are going to use in this phase is brainstorm. In brainstorming, you have to go for volume. Try to generate as many ideas as you can based on the POVs that you have selected in the previous stage or phase, which is defining. So after you have done with your brainstorming, now you have the solution. Okay, you have built the solution based on the best possible idea in ideation session via brainstorming. You probably have created a physical prototype or a design of your solution. The next stage is actually to share your solution or your proposal or your prototype with your potential customers or users. So we are at the final phase of design thinking, which is to share your solution or prototype to solicit feedback to further refine your idea and develop better solution that will meet the needs of the users. Obviously, when you really understand your users, you will be able to craft or to develop a product or service that will meet your customers' needs. Before I end my presentation, let's watch a video that highlights the importance of understanding the needs of a particular target group. You will be able to offer a product that not only needed by the user, but also an impactful product for the benefits or that can benefit the society.
In South Africa, thousands die every year in disadvantaged areas from preventable diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, pneumonia, and cholera, which is due to lack of hygiene. In fact, the World Health Organization rates South Africa as one of the least hygienic nations in the world. Worst of all, the diseases affect the most vulnerable, our children. No more is it true than in Blikkiesdorp, an informal settlement in the Western Cape of South Africa. However, there is hope. Research has shown that the simple act of washing hands frequently with soap is the most effective way of preventing the spread of infection and deadly disease. But providing kids with soap is one thing. The real challenge is getting them to use it repetitively so it becomes a routine. How did we encourage kids to wash hands frequently? Introducing Hope Soap, a see-through bar of soap with a toy inside. If you want to get to the toy, you've got to use the soap. Community leaders are helping to distribute Hope Soap into the hands of kids in Blikkiesdorp.
The children are actually more excited to go and not only wash their hands, but they can't wait for another part because they want to wash because they want the toy inside.
Hope Soap instilled the habit of hand washing. As a result, improved the children's hygiene condition while decreasing their exposure to common illnesses. In the end, the children's small reward was a toy, but South Africa's big reward was hope for a healthier nation.
With that video, thank you very much for your attention and see you again in the next session. Bye-bye.